Welcome back to the Red Zone. We're joined now by North Central College Sports Information Director Clark Teuscher. Clark, let's get right into it. The women's golf team is on a roll.
Yeah, they just keep winning. They picked up 3 wins in 3 straight days over the weekend at different courses, which takes on some added significance this year with the CCIW being a 54-hole event in October, and they'll have to play 3 straight days that weekend. So certainly nice to see that they can maintain a high level of play over a period of 3 straight days.
And Alyssa Gaudio going at it again, CCIW Golfer of the Week 2 weeks in a row, breaking her own record once again. The hits keep on coming for her.
Yeah, she's been remarkably consistent since they started playing back on the 1st, and just kind of keeps threatening her own records at North Central, which she's held for a while anyway. But to be improving even at this stage is certainly an impressive sight, and it gives you it makes you wonder what she might be capable of down the road a little bit.
For sure, and cross country keeps raking in the honors. Another CCIW Runner of the Week, another North Central Cardinals named. Yeah,
Pat Lesowitz is a freshman. He's one of many freshmen we have. It's come in with very high credentials from the high school level.
Yeah, and at that invitational, you know, NCC takes second, but at the same time, it was mostly young guys.
Yeah, 15 of the older guys were held out to race at the Illinois Intercollegiate Invitational this coming Friday down in Normal. Mm-hmm. So it was a chance for some of the younger guys to step up and grab some of the spotlight, and Pat certainly did that with his performance.
And the women did somewhat the same thing at that same Aurora Spartan Invitational and did pretty well as well.
Yeah, I believe they finished 5th in the 13 or 14 team field, and only sent about 12 of their runners over there. Mm-hmm. Sarah Ahn, who was the freshman of the year a couple of years ago, suffered through some injuries. It's not on the way back now. Was a top finisher. I believe she finished 6th overall. So certainly encouraging to see some of the younger and recovering runners being able to step up and perform well like that.
A big meet for both cross-country teams this weekend, the Illinois Intercollegiates. Just what kind of goes all into that? It's a lot of teams, a lot of different divisions.
Yeah, it's a competition amongst all the collegiate programs in the state of Illinois, from Division I right on down through the line. So both the men and the women are going to go into a very large field full of talented individuals. The men's team actually came away with a victory over the likes of the University of Illinois and Bradley and Illinois State and some of the other top teams. So they'll have a bit of a target on their back as they head into that meet, but it's a challenge that I think they're up for.
Moving on to the court now, the women's tennis team has started out pretty well, only lost 1 match, and Corey Schillerster making some news as well, breaking the all-time #1 singles wins record.
Yeah, she's we kind of knew that was going to happen this year, and she certainly had an outstanding career to this point. The one conference match they lost was to Wheaton, which typically has been a 9-0 whitewash in the past, and they actually took a match off of them this year. So, you know, a small step forward in that regard, but still holding their own and doing very well against the rest of the conference.
And she's only a junior, so she could set the bar pretty high here, right?
Yeah, it's one of those ones that may not be broken for a while, and it's certainly indicative of the kind of career that she's had there.
For sure, and as athletic director Jim Miller was in here talking, you guys got some new tennis courts, right?
Yeah, right between our baseball and softball fields. It was kind of a snug fit for the 5 courts there, but they're in there, and they're a top caliber surface to play on, and it's good to have both the teams back on campus after a couple of years out at Ranchview Park.
Yeah, for sure. I was out there yesterday. They look pretty nice, for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's still an unfinished project in terms of the access to the courts themselves and the seating and whatnot. But the courts, they've been highly anticipated by our coaches, and certainly a welcome addition to the athletic complex.
Both soccer squads run into a little bit of a rough patch after winning quite handily in the first couple weeks, but they do have a big tournament coming up this weekend.
Yeah, the annual Salvacaro Invitational is this weekend. They'll have 4 teams in for both the men and the women. All the teams will play two matches throughout the weekend. Typically a tournament where our teams perform very well, so they'll be looking to capture the championships for both the men's and women's side this weekend.
So the outlook's pretty good for them this weekend and even moving forward as well.
Certainly, they've had some tough competition early in the season, which I think is good for them, and they've figured out some things about where some people might be best suited to play as the season goes forward. So they've got some adjustments made, and look like they're pretty solid heading into conference competition as well.
For sure, and it's all about tournament play right now for the volleyball team at the Jim Coleman Memorial Invitational over in Aurora. Didn't necessarily play their best volleyball.
Yeah, they had a bit of a rough weekend. And the St. Norbert match, that's typically a team that plays pretty well against us. Can be a tough matchup, and it certainly was on Friday. They've got some people that they've been trying out in some new positions, trying to make some adjustments and get things solidified as they open up conference play on Thursday against Millikan University.
Well, Clark, we appreciate your insight.
Thank you, Alex.
And that's the time we have for this week's edition of the Red Zone. The Cardinal football team is on the road this weekend at Olivet College. Kickoff is slated for noon Central Time. I'm Alex Simmons. We hope to see you right back here next week.